Thank you, Senator Hawley. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you to both of you for appearing today. And I'll start with you, Ms. Clarke, because I've worked with you extensively on voting rights and other issues, and I know you appeared before our Rules Committee with Senator Blunt and I, and just did an excellent job. I want to thank you for that, and got respect from both sides of the aisle in terms of your testimony and how you answered questions. We know that we've had hundreds of voter suppression bills be introduced across the country since the last election. Could you briefly talk about your top priorities for voting rights when you get what I hope very much you will get this job?
Thank you so much, Senator. President Biden, Attorney General Garland have talked about the importance of the right to vote, and I will follow their lead in ensuring that the Civil Rights Division, if I am confirmed, is using the tools in its arsenal, the Voting Rights Act, the National Voter Registration Act, the Uniformed and Overseas Absentee Citizens Voting Act, to ensure that eligible Americans have access to the ballot in our country.
Thank you. And I thank you for mentioning the families of both Daunte Wright as well as George Floyd. Obviously, these are tragedies in my own state, and my constituents have been through a lot with the murder of George Floyd, with the shooting of Clarke, with the understanding that Daunte Wright, with the understanding that the word in the news is there's going to be charges in that case as well today. But you also mentioned Officer Evans' family, which I appreciated. And I was someone who was at that memorial service yesterday, stood with the police officers as his body was taken for the last time out of the Capitol, right over the site where he was killed, was at the funeral of George Floyd. And I think you understand that you can both advocate for police reform and the rights of citizens and still respect deeply police. Could you comment about that and some of the things that you think we should be doing with police reform, which I strongly support? And I see Senator Booker is here, who's been such a leader on this. We appreciate that. Just how you can do these both things at once.
Thank you so much for that question, Senator. I've not shied away, as a civil rights lawyer, I've not shied away from working with law enforcement. I needed to and relied on law enforcement to handle my cases as a federal prosecutor at the Justice Department. Hate crimes, human trafficking cases, domestic violence matters that we could not move forward without the expertise and good guidance of law enforcement. At the New York State Attorney General's office, I worked closely with sheriffs, with the state police to investigate cases. At the Lawyers Committee where I am presently, we rolled up our sleeves and worked with the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I think that there is a lot of common ground to be forged when it comes to issues of police reform and accountability and criminal justice reform generally. I appreciate that this role, leading the Civil Rights Division, is not a policy-making role. It's a law enforcement role. And I look forward to supporting the work of this body as it continues to wrestle with these issues and find pathways to progressive and healthy reforms.
Very good. Thank you. And then I turn to you, Mr. Kim. I had a chance encounter with your sons, Paulden and Jigme, in the hallway, and I see they're very well behaved behind you right now. And I would fill my other fellow senators in on, they spontaneously were able to recount several incidences from the presidential primary debates, which was quite impressive. Quite impressive. So anyone who is looking for, an advisor in the future, they're sitting behind Mr. Kim right now. We know that there were many issues of a lack of enforcement in the Justice Department during the last administration, 70% fewer Clean Water Act prosecutions, 50% fewer clean air cases during the first 2 years of the administration. And you've had some vast experience in this. And could you just take a second to talk about how you actually have worked for both the Bush administration and Democratic administrations, and you have served as a civil servant at the Justice Department under Republican, Democratic administrations. can you talk about your history of believing in the Justice Department and its role beyond politics, and also how that will help you to do well in this job?
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for the kind
And
words
could you
about my
explain
son.
how your sons know all that stuff?
I can't explain that, actually. But I can say that if confirmed, what I really hope is to reaffirm the core values that the department has long stood for: fairness, independence, integrity, devotion to the rule of law. These values really matter to me, and it excites me tremendously to have the chance to return to the department and try to live up to those ideals. I have seen the statistics as well about drops in enforcement. I'm not at the department right now, so I can't speak to what's happened, at least directly as to any particular enforcement decision. But as Ms. Clarke, I think, quite rightly said, this is not a policy role, this is an enforcement role. And so I want to make sure the rule of law is properly respected and that every enforcement decision is based on the facts and based on the law. And that's what I hope to do if confirmed.
Very good. I appreciate both of you very much, and I also appreciate the choice of your mom's school at the University of Minnesota. So, very good. Thanks.
Thanks, Senator Klobuchar. Senator Cotton.